I don't see anywhere where somebody actually gives you instructions to make one of these long processional palms. So let's see if we can figure that out together. This is a palm bud. This one's about 4.5 feet long. I pick it up from my florists. I think they run around $15 each. And they'll have anywhere from maybe 50 palms to 100, depending on how big it is. And they're kind of, so maybe we back up a little bit. This is something that the priests and deacons carry for Palm Sunday as they process into Mass. What you're going to find, this is the bud, I think this is a cabbage palmetto. It's going to have these little skinny green leaves on the outside, and these are fantastic for doing the little crosses in the Sacred Heart of Jesus palm fold, but they're not really great for starting this off. Ooh, wiggle the camera. So just pull those off, set them aside. I picked this thing up several days ago, and I've been keeping it wrapped up in a plastic garbage bag on my back porch where it's kind of chilly. Not freezing, but getting there. And that'll keep it fresher. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a circus because this is so long, and there's a big wrestling match that happens with these every year. You have to social distance if you're making these with somebody else. Like, you sit way over there. Stop whacking me with the end of that thing. Anyway, so the bottom of this one's cut off a little bit sharp here, but this part here is very sharp and maybe dangerous. Not dangerous, but it might not be fun to hold on to. So I like to wrap the bottom in something that we make. There's a couple of them that work pretty good. I think I'm gonna need 4. This is sort of like a sampler for palm weaving. You can try out all your favorite stuff. And you do want to think about it a little bit ahead of time, you know, what you want to put where, what would look nice toward the bottom versus toward the top. I don't remember what this one is called, a 4-strand plate, maybe. P-L-A-I-T, not a dinner plate. So pick one side or the other. I'm trying to force it to come out this way because I want to wrap this around. Over, under, over, and then fold behind, if I remember right. And then this one folds in front, over, under, over. This will just make, you can see what's happening already. So we'll make this long, flat, braidy thing that you can wrap around the bottom of this. Okay, so I've woven it down about this far, and I actually want to leave some of these on. This whole project is a little bit of a, just like Rube Goldberging things together. I don't quite know how I'm going to finish this off, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, my thought is maybe I can weave the tails of this in to other parts of this so that I don't have to tie a big knot or something to secure it. We'll see. But in any case, I always have this thought that maybe I'll remember to clip off the super skinny ends of this before I start, but I never do. End up trying to hold things together and snap it off with your thumb. Anyway, so let's wrap this around here. Just kind of give it something a little better looking at the bottom. All right, so then what? There's all of these belt buckle things going on here that might work. And then it's okay if it looks a little gnarly at the back, but you want the front side to look kind of good. But still, I'm not quite sure if the good bishop is gonna remember to carry it with its most pleasing side forward. So yeah, maybe we can do one of those turn things, because this one has a lip on it right here that might make it a little hard to get under there. Let's see. Yeah, I think we can do it. Okay, so one wrap down. This one's kind of oriented that way, so I think I'll poke it under here. If you don't feel like getting this fiddly, you can certainly maybe send, I don't know, tie an overhand knot and tuck it up under one of these fat things. This is going to shrink a little bit as it dries, and I'm not sure if that'll make it looser or tighter, honestly. A lot of mystery to this stuff. I've been trying to get those square roses figured out, because they shrink and they do all kinds of not pleasant things, but they look so cool. So do you stick a book on it? Do you add a paper clip? Tie stuff around it? I don't know. Mysteries that must be solved. So we have the rack done. Now let's make some leaves. I think that'll be fun next. We gotta orient these, so I'm gonna do a whole series of leaves and then kind of roll them as a swirl around there. So if we just make them as they are here, they would all stack up on each other and stick out the side, and that would look kind of weird. You want to kind of try to fill this thing, and so that process requires that you take one from this side and one from this side, and then you just decide where you're going to have it start by where you cross it. So you could, you know, we'll be making some over here, slightly off here, and then over here to get them in this position. You just kind of, you know, depending on your starting point, that's how that's going to work. So let's stick one in the middle, and I don't really know if it makes much difference if you work the sides first and then start bringing them over, or stick one in the middle and work. I don't know. We just don't do these often enough to have enough experience to have any answers. So sorry. In any case, we'll see how much we can help you out here, because oh my goodness, that's just so great to do these for our priests. Make Palm Sunday a little more wonderful. Let's see, pull that down a little bit. I want to try and keep this tight right here, so that it snugly fits around here. It'll just look a lot tidier. I could go quite a bit further, but I do want to leave a little bit of string on the end here to help me tie things down where I want them to go. So a little overhand knot is always so much tidier than when you have these going in two different directions. That's just basically a rule of thumb. Okay, so next one from each side here, and then we'll just scooch it over a hair. Is this 2 or 1? Yeah, I think it's 1. If you have to take breaks from working on this, I really haven't timed these yet to see how long they take, but it's a few hours for sure. Just have a bag nearby that you can slide it into to keep it from drying out. Some parishes purchase their palms like this. I think it's maybe an expense thing because maybe, I don't know actually, maybe they stay fresher longer, but I imagine they're more expensive if you have to pay for them to tear them apart and size them and bag them up and put them in a box, and maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the florist says she sells a lot of these to parishes. Maybe they're all making palm standards, I don't know. In any case, so I've got some of these going around, but I don't feel like I have enough to really do since I plan to roll it this way, I might need a few extra on this side. So yeah, you just this is super just making it up as you go for sure. Yeah, I think there's probably one more over here. Maybe if it's a little more obvious, like there's a front side and a back side, that actually might be helpful for the priest or deacon or bishop who's going to carry it, to kind of figure out which way to hold it. Because I could bring some from each side and do some up the back too, and I still might do that. In fact, I'm going to do this one here, but I also want to show you a little bit of fiddling. If you find that they're all stuck together and you can't pull one off, you can just give it a bend like this, and it kind of separates them for you. So this one, and then one from this side, and we'll go across the back. Lots of hair. Good to have a box or a paper sack nearby to collect all this junk. So when you're fishing 2 of these together, there's this fold the first time for the initial step, but there's going to be a way that naturally feels like it's going to fit better, and this feels but if you turn it this way, then it sort of lays down in the planned direction that we're going to go. And so it's a really important, when you're starting out, to make sure that this is tight and this is tight around here, and this is cinched down like as snug as you can get it to the palm bud center. And you're also probably going to have some mismatching in sizes when you do this, where you're pulling one from each side. Don't worry about that. It's just part of the nature of the beast. Make sure you pull these down nice and tight, and sometimes I reposition these to just get them a little snugger. So. Alright, so mine ended up being 7, which is such a heavenly number. 7 leaves to go around here, and so the next task is going to be to figure out how to get them to stay where we want them to stay. So, like I said, let's see, what are the options here? I could probably bring these all together and overhand knot all the hair, but I'm not certain that I can get it to stay where I want it. So the trash, this is one of the edges we pulled off. to start with because the pieces are so skinny. But they might be handy for this part. I think I only need one and I feel like this is a double. Yep. So we're gonna just fish these through here. Snap off the end. And maybe just under the knot. Make sure we go in an order. Don't mix them up, and then we'll plan to kind of tie it down here with a knot on the back side. This is another good reason if we're going to stick it together like this, to make sure you don't get too far out to the skinny stuff, because things are a little bit firmer here. Okay, so then we got the issue of what about the short one? Maybe we can just bend it up a little higher so that we don't have this dippy thing going. Alternatively, you could take your shortest one. Maybe that would be better. Did I say we make this up as we go on? Yes, I did. Let's see, who's the short child here? This one. So maybe we work the tether through a little further down. So I don't think it's going to matter that much as far as the look of how it manages everything. Yes, I will confess that I'm probably way more fiddly on this project than other people who make them. Just kind of how I fly. Let's make it more difficult than it really has to be. So, yeah, I think this will work. Maybe. Looks like I got everybody. Oh, except this one. You see what's happening here? This guy's flipped over. Let's try and get them all oriented the same way. There you go, darling. Yeah, I do a lot of sewing. Carries over into leaves. Yeah, it makes kind of like a nice little flamey looking thing. Alright, so I want the tie to be in the back. I think maybe I'll just overhand knot this like I usually do. Give it a little twist. This is very pliable stuff. You have to be very careful not to tug too hard. And you really want to work with fresh palms because they will get very brittle when they dry out. If you give a little twisty pressure, that'll tighten up nicely. So then we have all this hair, which we're not super fans of. But I think the overall look of it, other than that, is good. So, haircut time. I snip them typically at an angle. Okay, so this is motif number 2. Then I think let's go to roses. Gotta have roses in there. We do one also for Holy Thursday. During Holy Week, St. John Cantius takes their statue of Jesus. he's got his arms down and a crown of thorns and that cloak on, so it's basically Ecce Homo, you know, after he's kind of trashed a bit. And they create a prison cell in the vestibule doors. There's double doors, so there's a shallow alcove there between the two sets of doors. So they put a grate up, and then I always make one of these to lay in his arms while he's standing there. And I like to do that when looking more ominous. That's the right word. I do the cones a lot because they look sort of like clubs to me. Anyway, I still want to use the square ones that are made just with one strand, but they just boing out unless you stick a book on them for a couple days. And I'm not sure how to make that happen here. I tried with a binder clip, and I should show you because it's kind of funny. This is the first one. They looked so cool initially. And then these, we kind of tried tying a piece over. This one I tied the, I don't know, I think I stripped one from here, tried to tie that off. But the book definitely works best. I love how they spiral when they dry. They're perfectly square when you first fold them, and then they do this as they dry. And so this was in the dictionary for 2 days. Can't do that. I don't have enough dictionaries for this, and I don't have the time either. So anyway, yep, go make some roses. At this point, I have a couple of them on here, but I really want one right here. And you can actually do that. It feels like you can't because everything's here, but strip one of these off. And one from this side. And basically I want to separate it here a little further down so it's more level with the spot I'm trying to get to. And then you can just kind of cheat it under other stuff you have. So you can get a precise placement. See, kind of tidy, and suddenly there's stuff coming out where you want it to be. Voila. Yeah, that should work. Always, also, this is for Palm Sunday, and we are walking through the Passion of our Lord. So instead of like thinking about what you're going to make for dinner or how unhappy you are with the condition of your bathroom, you can pray for your priests and for the church while you do this. It just turns it into a more spiritual thing and makes the time feel productive in other cool ways. Yeah. It's a good thing to intercede while doing any kind of sacramental making. We have that rule in the sewing room. If you're fixing Deacon Andrew's cassock, you pray for his vocation while you stitch. It's a good thing. So yeah, see, that just filled up that kind of empty spot. Also, we were talking about this last week. finish all your roses at 3 o'clock. No, mercy. Yeah, I know, that's probably too much. So I've got 5 roses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe doing another round of them up here, but I also kind of like the vibe of the 5 wounds of Christ, so maybe I'll leave it. You don't want to get too symbolic if it sacrifices the appearance of it, but I think that kind of works. I could do something else up here. But I also want to show you, I set this down for a minute and that happened. And so I just wanted to talk you through, like, it's not the end of the world. We have ways, in fact, you sort of want that to happen before the fact so that it doesn't happen on Palm Sunday to your poor bishop. So what we know is that this will slide off. And we will just make it so it's not allowed to do that. So again, go get one of these little skinny extra guys that you ripped off when you started here. And I think we only need a single for this. We're basically going to fish a little helper down through here to make it stay together. I think we could do some little weaving sort of things to maybe, you know, so it's not just a stripe up here. I'm just going to get this in place to hold it in place. So can I get this in the right position, and then we're going to anchor it to some of this stuff up here. Bad associations, but my dear auntie has had so many hip replacements that none of the surgeons will work on it anymore. And they did this to her pelvis. Let's just run some wires. Oh, Lord have mercy. Again, a little bit more. Yes, this makes this a little wider, a little more sturdy. Anyway, you might want to preemptively do this to your bottom if you pick this version, just to make sure it stays. Yeah, that's much better. Again, I think you could maybe get away with an overhand knot and stuff the ends down and clip it off. I have made these before with 2 people going at it. Like you just get it in a table between 2 of you and work on different sides if you're having a time crunch. And they don't have to be this elaborate either. There. Okay. Averted that disaster. Clip some of these down a little bit. Alright, so what do we do next up here? I saw a braid thing that I was kind of digging, and it's a pattern that you see more, I think I want to say in Spain or Italy, where they have a slightly different kind of leaf available that's more pliable. So for this one, you do not want this spine on here at all, because it needs to be buttery soft on both sides. I only messed with this once, so hopefully I won't embarrass myself in front of y'all by totally flubbing it up here. Yeah, this one has a little bit of a spine there. Also would be good if they were all the same width. If your fingers are as fat as mine, it's not always very accurate getting the width of these exactly the same. So a nice trick is to line it up and then stick a pin through and slide it a little bit. And then you don't have to take a wild stab in the dark trying to split it with your fingernail. Okay. Set the pin out of the way. How about the lampshade? So this is a braid, and I think it works best if you're braiding down toward yourself than away. And it's a over the top rather than the cornrow. And the idea is to give this the little lift. Let's see. Yes. You see how there's a little bit of a lift here so that you're getting these kind of peaks going. So I have 3 of these braids going, and the thought is to wind them around here to give it kind of it adds, when you strip off the green, it adds almost like a second color. It's kind of great. This one's looking a little, let's see, I think I need to turn it around this way. And then what, you might say? Well, let's see. Here's pretty much the front of this. We'll have some stuff coming up right here. This is the back. Maybe we can go through this way and that way and tie them off. Yeah, good luck with that. Let's see here. Did I say we make this up as we go along? Yes, we do. At least here we have some back pressure, right? Perhaps I cut them too short. Nah. There. Cool. All right. Next, I think crickets. Crickets need a 2-leaf thing, and I got 1 here. We have ways of solving this problem. It involves a pair of scissors. That's totally legal, don't worry. I'm going to turn this around without stabbing anything. Sure. There's a lot of wrestling with this endeavor. Just going to go with that. If you want a little bit more thorough instruction for this, the cricket is in one of our other videos. You can look at it over there. I feel like this is oriented the wrong way. It's fighting too much. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so this is the plan. I'm just going to make a series of these. What do we do about the, yeah, thinking ahead to how you get them in the middle. Let's look at that for a second. We'll leave this one here for a moment. What if we want one right here? Here's a double. Yeah, there's a double. So let's do 2 of these toward the middle. So you're gonna have one spine here, one spine here. But I think what you do is you use this spine for these 2. Maybe just do a rollover fold like so. And then we can make this one happen here. Makes sense. It's going to be a little wonky for the first cone or so until you get established, because the base of this is all kitty wampus. One of my mama's favorite words. Okay, I have 4 of the crickets going here, but I want one right here in the center. So I'm going to try and fish this through, snap off the ends, and see if I can shove it down under here and get it to come right up through the middle. Wouldn't that be nice? I've got a bunch of these up here, and I wanted one more over on this side, and the connected side is on the left here, but I want it to be more to the right, so I just tore that side out, and I'm just using these 2 pieces from this edge as the spine. That's totally legal. It might, you know, sometimes these little adjustments help put things in the right place. So next, maybe some rickrack. That's kind of fast. And I think I can make it do another wrap like this, with just a different texture. It should be kind of fun. That one uses 2 in the spine. You want to take off the woody outside parts. Make everything fold better. I started trying to get these to go into a bag or a box, so I just started to do a wind like this, and then I throw them out. It's a lot less of a mess. Alright, so split the center spine off, and let's see, I'm going to turn this around. So the front one is going to fold like so behind the spine, and then this guy folds over the top, and then up parallel. This one folds up over that. Again, we have a separate video for this, so I'm not going to get super detailed about it. I sometimes use these for the bottom, like the handle part of a bouquet, because if you stretch things just right, when it winds around, you can get the next chevron to line up in here. It doesn't always work perfectly, but you can kind of make it sort of do that. It looks really great. Yeah, but I think if we just kind of roll it, kind of stack them up, that's nice. Over here. Yeah. And then the whole tie-off thing happens. Let's see. I feel like we should fish it under here. Aha. Let's see, movement. And you just stuff the excess under the carpet here. I feel like more roses because these are getting nice and wide as they do toward the center. And I'm not quite ready to do the classic topper. So maybe just 3 roses around there. I'll try that next. This is my 3rd rose. I have one here, and one in the middle, which is taken from a single leaf on this side and a single leaf on that side. And then what happens often when you do that is you get this variance in size that kind of appears as you go forward. So I'm going to try and just split this, see if I can finish this rose out with 3. Yeah. I think it might look less wonky. We'll see. Just, it's another one of those cases of just sort of going with the flow. Yeah, I think it'll kind of work. So after this, we've got still just a couple feet up here. And I like to turn the top of these into a bunch of what we call the whip, which are long. They remind me of a water-ish plant in the marshy areas called horsetail, I think. A little bit like that. Anyway, just put a whole bunch of them up at the top, and then we'll finish it off with a crown of thorns placed somewhere around here, maybe. Anyway, that's the plan, and then this thing will be done. Alright, yeah, I think that works. A little seeping. Alright. Let's turn it this way. Not knocking anything over really. So, man, it's such a little bit painful to sacrifice these nice white, wide leaves, but at this point it kind of needs to be done. And again, we got the leftovers from that rose. 2 singles here, and I think maybe we can make this into 3 whips, or 2 whips. We need a center spine, and let's see, might be better to use this edge. And then one from this side, and one from this side. Let's see how that works. Yeah, I think we can make it work. This is the whip again. I think we've got it in another video, and these we'll just get a ton of them up to kind of give some texture to the top of this thing. Sometimes I actually spend the incredible long amount of time to do the rest of these this way, but they tend to get kind of floppy, which I guess whips would kind of do, but I sort of like things to kind of hold themselves straight up. So I'm just going to do a bunch on either side, but I'm going to let the center of this palm bud stay together and straight up to kind of make a support for the rest of this. So that's the story. Whips. Out of these really wide ones, doesn't work so well. So you can turn this into 2. Just wanted to show you this by splitting a spine from each side. And so the open side will obviously have a couple of pieces, but who cares? You just wind the pieces around that. And here is the traditional side, and then just split these in half through the middle and make one over here with these 2 and one over here with these 2. 2 for 1. This one, the spine did not split off very well from the main branch, so it got super skinny, and this is not very workable at this point. But if you take one of these throwaway spine things from, yeah, I don't know, you rip off a bunch of these for different reasons. Just fish one of these down through the middle. Doesn't have to go all the way back to the bottom, just get it in there for a bit. And then go around both of them, and you should be good to go. I think I have about 10 of these on each side now. And the last piece that I like to put on these is a crown of thorns that kind of encircles things up around here. So to do that part, you turn it over to the underbelly and pull an outside one. I think I'll go with this side since it's a little bit wider. And you should be able to get it out of 2 of these. A double palm. So I'm going to fold this and do a right angle here because we want it to circle around this way. And there's also instructions on the crown of thorns, but you basically want to have a center rib like this, and then a few pieces to weave the thorns. I'm going to split these separately. So So 4 of these, 2 here and 2 here. And then the center rib. And this isn't squirrely at all to start off, sure. Okay, so this is in the middle. We'll take the right one, do a bend to the middle, and come back underneath, and then fold to the right. Come to this side, give it a roll, go under, fold to the left. This side, a little closer in. Okay, let's check the length here. Yeah, I think that will do nicely. This is a good place for cuticle scissors. Start below the curve, so that when you get to the top of the curve, these will stand up. Just be careful to only go around halfway through it, so you don't cut it in half. That's a bad moment. Rip that thing off, find another piece, start over. And there you have it. You're going to need to store these in a plastic bag that's very humid. And so I like to get like a damp paper towel. Just get it wet. Give this a mist. You don't want it soaking wet, because then it might discolor a little bit, but just get it slightly misted. Like maybe wrap the top of these, because the hairy end of this is gonna dry up faster than the rest of that down there. And then what I do? Put it in a plastic bag, a couple of trash bags, wrap it up fairly tight, and store it in a cool place.